What would have happened if it wasn't Orochimaru but the Akatsuki who attacked Konoha during the Chunin Exams? In the arena, as Shikamaru is fighting Tamari and the crowd is watching every move, everything seems normal. But in the background, a catastrophe is already unfolding because at that very moment, the Akatsuki are on their way to Konoha. Obito has made the decision to take advantage of the perfect opportunity to capture two Jinchuriki at once, Naruto and Gaara. And so, one of the most dangerous groups in the shinobi world begins their assault. Pain, Konan, Itachi, Deidara, Kisame, Kakuzu, and Sasori, each with a clear role, each powerful enough to throw an entire village into chaos. And while no one in Konoha notices what's coming, one man senses the danger. Jiraiya, who is outside the village, suddenly stops and realizes something is wrong, something big, something threatening, and without hesitation, he rushes back. But by the time he arrives, the Akatsuki have already split up, with only one remaining in the background. Pain, acting as the final contingency, while Deidara and Itachi head straight for the arena. Kakuzu attacks the east gate, Kisame the west gate, Sasori the south gate, and Konan infiltrates the ANBU headquarters, a perfectly coordinated attack, hitting Konoha from all sides at once. And just as Shikamaru's fight ends and the next match is about to begin, a shadow appears over the arena, Deidara's bird in the sky, and suddenly everything turns into chaos. Explosions rain down, civilians scream, shinobi react instantly, evacuations begin, and in the middle of it all stands Hiruzen Sarutobi, the third Hokage, calm, focused, analyzing, immediately taking control, giving orders, sending Kakashi with Shikaku, Inoichi, and Choza to the east gate, sending Might Guy to the west, while Rasa moves with Gaara, Tamari, and Kankuro to the south. And as the village splits into multiple battlefields, Hiruzen remains in the arena to face Deidara, and this is where one of the most impressive fights of this scenario begins. Because Hiruzen is known as the Professor for a reason, he has mastered all 5 chakra natures. He can combine them seamlessly. He analyzes in seconds, and while Deidara attacks from the air with C2 and C3 explosions, trying to turn everything into rubble, Hiruzen begins to control the battlefield, using wind-enhanced fire style to detonate explosions mid-air, water style to reduce damage, earth style to create massive defensive barriers, and supported by his ANBU guards as well as Genma, Hayate, and Ibiki, a perfectly coordinated defense forms, forcing Deidara to constantly move, preventing him from aiming properly, making him lose control of the battlefield. And then comes the turning point. Hiruzen summons Enma, the Monkey King, who transforms into the Nyoi staff, a perfect weapon against a flying opponent, and with precise strikes combined with shadow shuriken techniques, he hits Deidara's bird and forces him down, and at that moment, the fight is essentially over, because without his aerial advantage, Deidara stands no chance against a Kage and an elite support team, and even if he were to use his ultimate explosion, Hiruzen still has one final option, the Reaper Death Seal, a technique that guarantees a kill even at the cost of his own life, meaning Hiruzen wins this fight no matter what. Meanwhile, Might Guy arrives at the west gate and witnesses a massacre. Kisame stands among fallen shinobi with Samehada in hand, ready to fight, but this is one of the clearest counter matchups in the series, because while Kisame relies on chakra absorption and massive water techniques, Guy fights purely with taijutsu. He opens the inner gates, his speed explodes, his power increases beyond limits, and even when Kisame creates a water dome to control the battlefield, Guy breaks through it with pure physical force, overwhelming him completely with techniques like Hirudora, resulting in a clear victory for Konoha. At the east gate, Kakashi, Shikaku, Inoichi, and Choza face Kakuzu, who with his 5 hearts and elemental masks is an extremely dangerous opponent. But here strategy beats raw power. Shikaku binds him with shadow paralysis, Inoichi disrupts his control, Choza applies pressure, and Kakashi uses those openings perfectly to destroy one heart after another with Raikiri. A difficult fight, but ultimately a clear win through teamwork, At the south gate, Sasori faces Rasa and the Sand team, but this matchup is heavily unfavorable for him, as Gaara's absolute defense blocks every poison attack. Rasa's gold sand is heavier and stronger than normal sand and dominates the battlefield, while Kankuro understands Sasori's puppet mechanics, and Temari adds additional pressure, leaving Sasori with almost no chance and leading to his defeat. Meanwhile, in the ANBU headquarters, Konan launches her attack, but Danzo responds immediately, using his root ANBU forces, his tactical intelligence, and most importantly Izanagi, to survive even fatal blows and adapt. And without preparation, Konan cannot reach her full potential, resulting in another victory for Konoha. But all of these battles are secondary, because the true decisive fight takes place outside the village, where Jiraiya faces Pain, and this is where a battle at the highest level begins. Jiraiya quickly realizes that Pain is no ordinary opponent, that multiple bodies are acting simultaneously, that there is a system behind it all, and as he enters Sage Mode, an unexpected ally appears, Itachi Uchiha, who turns against Pain, a moment that changes everything, because with Jiraiya, Itachi, a team is formed that can actually stand against Pain. Jiraiya uses massive oil and fire techniques in Sage Mode to apply pressure, while Itachi stays in the background, analyzing every ability, every timing, and once an opening appears, he strikes with precision, eliminating individual paths, especially the Naraka path early on, removing Pain's ability to revive. But Pain adapts, using Shinra Tensei, to devastate the battlefield and split the team apart, with the Deva path becoming the biggest threat, controlling the flow of the fight by repelling attacks and pulling enemies in. And this is where the difficulty of the fight truly shows, as timing against these abilities is extremely hard to coordinate. But Itachi remains calm, waiting for the right moment, and when Shinra Tensei enters its short cooldown, he takes the opportunity, activates Susanoo, protects himself with the Yada mirror, and attacks with the Totsuka blade, a weapon that seals anything it strikes instantly, and once he hits the Deva path, the fight is effectively over, leading to Pain's defeat. And so, Konoha manages to survive the Akatsuki assault despite massive destruction and intense battles. But the war is far from over, because in the shadows, two of the most dangerous players are still out there, Obito and Zetsu, already preparing their next move and waiting for the right moment to strike again. Meaning, this victory, while significant, is only the beginning of something much bigger. And that raises the question, what would have happened next if Obito had intervened directly or launched an even more devastating attack? But that is a story for another time. So if you enjoyed this what-if scenario and want to see more, make sure to subscribe and let me know in the comments which Naruto what if I should do next.